Welcome to the Jade in USA podcast. Again, my name is Josh, and the goal of this podcast again is to talk about various Gen Z topics, being Asian in the Midwest, from an adoptee perspective. So a little bit of background. Again, I grew up in Michigan, where I also went to college. 23 years old, and I'm currently living in Chicago, Illinois, for work.
And I'm Janie. I am 22. I just graduated from Ball State University in Indiana, where I also grew up. And yeah, this podcast is about Asian adoptees in the Midwest. I'm a Chinese adoptee, and Josh is a Korean adoptee. And this week, we're going to interview Josh to get to know him better, as we did my episode last time.
Yeah. And before we get into that, again, going over why is our podcast named Jade in USA. It's kind of a play off of Made in USA. Jade is an Asian-related term. We're Asian in the U.S. We were made, in a sense, here as we were raised here. So, and both our names start with J. So, kind of felt like it was pretty fitting. So, yep.
Awesome. So we're just going to jump into the questions. Like we said in the last episode, we're going to start with the same questions that we'll answer, kind of just going through our background. So, Josh, what made you want to be a part of this podcast?
Yes. So, similar to you, I kind of always enjoyed the idea or glorified the idea of being like social media famous, as funny as it sounds. Even when I was like younger, I used to make like little videos, wouldn't post them, but like I was always watching YouTube and I was always wanting to be like some sort of creator. So I'd make silly videos when I was a kid, silly videos when I was like in high school. And Janie reached out to me asking about this opportunity and what I kind of thought about it, because we kind of had similar goals about where we wanted to end up in terms of like where we wanted to live, and just our interests were kind of aligned on this one. And I feel like both of us kind of have a very unique perspective, especially in the adoptee space, with a lot of the adoptees being a little bit older and a lot of the younger ones that are our age, 23, 22, early 20s, the Gen Z age, are out there, but a lot of them are kind of hidden. So I feel like we can really tap into them, but also just, I guess, general Asian American ideas too, because that's also part of our identity. So we're not trying to pigeonhole this to just adoptees only, but I think that's kind of like our added flair that I really think that like sets us apart. So yeah, I was really excited about this, and I think we have like a unique voice and story to tell.
Yeah, so guys, just talking about the podcast, what is your goal with it? Just to tell your story or to connect with people?
Yeah, I think primarily tell my story and share my perspectives and some of my opinions. Having a platform, I think, is something that I always wanted to kind of have. And I think I do have some things to say, some wise words to say. But I think getting out there, maybe being able to help someone or at least not make them feel as alone, I think is the main goal. Because I definitely see like there's a gap in the market, I guess, for this sort of perspective.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into a little bit of your adoption origin story then.
Yes. So I know a lot of adoptees have bits and pieces or very little information about their whole story. I fortunately do have a decent amount of information. So I was born March 31st, 2001. So I have that as my confirmed birthday. And I was born to a family who the mom and dad were not married. They were co-workers, aged 20 and 24, mother, father, respectively. So very, very young, very young. And obviously, I was not an expected child, but because of that, led to the father, I believe, just leaving the mother once he found out that she was pregnant. So that left the mother in a pretty difficult situation. Her and her family kind of decided that it'd be best to put me up for adoption, and I would have a better life overseas or with in the US or wherever. So I was born and then set for adoption, or sent to like an orphanage, a foster home for 6 months, and then came to the US. Originally supposed to come in September, but everyone knows what happened in September 2001. So I ended up coming in October to a very loving family in Southeast Michigan. But yeah, that's the Korean part of like the background. But yeah, so I grew up in Southeast Michigan, and that's kind of where I lived until now I'm moving here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, then tell me how you grew up. Tell me about your family, your loving family.
Yes. Again, I feel like it is a blessing to have like a very stable, like loving family in this community, as I've like learned and talked to more people. But yeah, I am an only child, so I was the only child from the family, which was a little tough growing up sometimes because that kind of made me learn to be alone and hang out with myself. But yeah, life was very, very like, I'd say boring, but it was just like independent, isolated at times. Not to get too deep in the weeds, but yeah. So, two working parents, like middle class. Father was kind of going through some like health issues throughout my whole life, so that was like another like unique, I guess, aspect of things, and that's kind of the reason why they ended up deciding to adopt, because they didn't want to risk like a natural birth and passing along a disease. So that was kind of where I came in. But yeah, grew up in a very, very like religious, I would say, like setting, in a very white town, white community, which is fine, just kind of how it is, and that's pretty common, I guess, for a lot of like adoptees, I feel like, in the Midwest. So yeah, grew up going to like the school that was like attached in a way to like my church, and then that was middle school, like elementary school, and then high school was also kind of like associated in a way. So that space was pretty like, or very white. Like I remember I was pretty much the only Asian kid in school. There was like one other Filipino family that was like a year above, one of the kids was above me and a grade below me, so wasn't the only one. But yeah, definitely believed that I was white for a long time. I didn't really have anyone where I looked to where I had to kind of remind me, or like literally, that I was not Asian, because you're in first person, everyone you're seeing is like white, so you just kind of like attach yourself to that. So that was kind of growing up. But yeah, I was a really shy kid. Like I said, no siblings, so I was just very shy, and I don't know if that's because like subconsciously I knew there was something different about me than everyone I was around. But just like playing games by myself, sounds really sad, but it really wasn't. Like I was like very happy kid. I was a very sweet kid. I was not a troublemaker at all. I was very by the book and very like I don't ever remember really getting in trouble for like anything really. I was like, I respected authority so much. So I was like,
Yeah.
I feared like breaking any sort of rule. So yeah, I was a very just sweet kid. And then as I grew up, that changed. But yeah, that was kind of how I grew up.
Okay. So I know you don't have siblings, but do you have any like cousins you're close to? Anyone you kind of consider kind of sibling like?
No. Honestly, no. I had a couple cousins that were around my age, but not really where I saw frequently. So it was only during like holidays. So you only see them like 3 times a year. You really can't just like bond very well. They don't live near you. So yeah, it was kind of hard to connect with people my age in like the family sense also. Obviously I got along with a couple of my cousins. But yeah, I think we were pretty close growing up, but not really my age. But I guess on my mom's side, my mom's sister has 3 kids, and we were all like 3 years apart, so I kind of fit in there, but I wouldn't say super super close.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you said you went to a religious school, sounds like. Religion was like a big part of growing up. How has that affected you now that you're an adult, you think?
Yeah, I mean it's a very touchy subject. I feel like I definitely would say I'm still religious, but the practice is just not there the same way it was, because you're almost like forced to go like to church all the time, like where there's like time set during school to like have like Bible study and like chapel, things like that, which I don't regret or anything. It's just kind of what it was, and it was very easy to just kind of assimilate into that. But I think as I've grown up, I've kind of realized, because of other circumstances as well, that I kind of need to choose to go back to it on my own now that I have more agency and I'm more independent and paying for myself and have everything. I know that I'm not ever going to like fall away in a sense, but just the practice of it, I think I am just kind of want to rediscover on my own and have like my own motivation, rather than having like the obligation and having like the pressure of just like being in my parents' house and having to go. But yeah, it's very interesting, like, because going from middle school and high school, where that's like where everyone does, and then going to college, a huge school, and that's obviously a little less, it's a little harder to maintain that. And also I'm becoming more like in touch with like my identity and things like that. It was just a lot of reasons for me to kind of like put it on pause in a way. So yeah, it's definitely still a part of me, definitely still something that's like top of mind, but it doesn't look the same. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty much on the same page about that. It's kind of just, it's one of those things you'll come back to when you're ready. So let's talk about the activities that you did growing up. What shaped you into who you are today?
Yeah. So I was very shy, but I was a very, very active and did a lot of extracurriculars growing up. Played so many sports. So the first sport I like organized that I played was like flag football when I was like 6 or 7 years old. I was like obsessed with football. Like I would, instead of watching, like I was split time watching cartoons and then like NFL Network. So I would literally be like consuming like football content all the time. And so that made me want to like play. So there's like these flag football leagues like in like my area. So I started playing that. Had a great time. I did that for like 4 years. And then when I got old enough at my school, that's when they started offering like soccer and basketball, like for the school. So I started playing those. Then I played a little bit of travel baseball. So I was very, very active. And then on top of that, like music wise, like I did piano from like kindergarten till like 8th grade, and then took a break and then started again in like for 1 year of high school. So I wish I didn't stop, but I literally had so much stuff on my plate that I just kind of, that was what had to take a back seat was that. But
Okay.
yeah, I really enjoyed playing piano. I was pretty good at it. So yeah, so that, and then 5th grade I started playing the alto sax. So I did that from 5th grade on to through high school. I like own my own saxophone. Like you, I haven't touched it since high school.
Yeah,
but
that's so funny.
Can still play, I'm sure. But
I'm sure you could. Yeah.
Yeah, but love jazz. I was in like jazz band, so that was very cool. So yeah, from there, so I did those two in high school. A little bit of piano, but mostly alto sax for music. And then in high school, I played soccer, basketball, baseball, and then a little bit of track senior year. So I was very busy. Like that's like fall, winter, spring. So very, very busy playing all those sports. But that was like a huge part of like who I was. Like I was pretty good. So I enjoy like the competition. I'm pretty competitive. So yeah, that was like a huge part of like who I am. Like, oh, it's like he's like athletic kid. Like, oh, he's like good at a lot of sports. Like that was like kind of who I was known for in a way. So yeah, big part.
Okay.
Of me. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely good to know. I did not know that you played piano from like kindergarten to 8th grade. Crazy. We should have a piano duel. We'll probably be at the same level. I haven't played in forever. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about your high school experience. You talked a little bit about like the activities you did, but I don't know if you want to get into academics or socially. What was that like?
Yeah, so like I kind of said, my school is pretty small, so you almost knew like everyone in a way, and which had good parts and bad parts. But I was a pretty good student, very good student for all growing up. So I was like salutatorian in high school, and that was able to get me into a good school. But also like, yeah, I was known as like the smart and like athletic kid, which was cool. But yeah, I had like a friend group, like, so socially, let me see, how do I want to say this? I had like friends that I had been close with growing up in middle school and like high school, like elementary school. Like I had one really close friend all growing up through those years, and then we went to the same high school together. So I had a couple people same grade that I was really close to. Had like a pretty good friend group in my grade by the end of high school, by senior year, and felt like I was pretty cool with like everyone at school because I was also in like band and like all the sports. So I had pretty close connect with like a lot of different groups of people. So I felt that was good, but still, like as far as like the Asian side, like I was just not caring or not really, like obviously I was aware, but like I didn't really care or think about my Asian identity as anything important. Like I still didn't want to be Asian. I wanted to be like white still. So just because that's what I was surrounded by and everything. So yeah, I'll get into it later, but I mean that was still like a very like different time looking back, and even just high school, which was not even that long ago, like 5 years ago. I feel like I was.
You're getting up there in age. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, 5 years is crazy. I was like
crazy.
5 years ago.
You're gonna go to your 5-year high school reunion?
Yeah, I don't even know if like that was organized, but even if it was, I'm not gonna make the trip back for
yeah.
that.
No. Okay,
yeah,
well then tell me how your college self has been different from your high school self.
Yeah, so both of us had kind of experienced the COVID implications during our college years. Yours was your first year, and mine was my second year, end of my first year. So, yeah. So freshman year, so I get accepted to my dream school, which is the University of Michigan, not too far from my home. That was like my team that I followed growing up. Like my parents went to like went there. And so I always wanted to go there. I was a huge fan. I was like a sports fan. So I was like, that was the goal.
Greatest football team in the world.
Yes,
So I've
we just
heard.
won a national championship. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
most winningest program. So yeah, dream school. But I literally did not know what I was doing in terms of like what I wanted to do, like declare as my major, what I wanted to do, like I didn't know what to expect going into a big state school. Like there's 40,000 undergrads. Like there's
That's
so
a
many
lot.
people. And I was not ready for any of that. And I didn't realize that you're really supposed to like take advantage of the first year of school. And that's when everyone kind of forms their own friend group and meets everyone because you kind of have that like shield of like, oh, I'm just a freshman, like I don't know anything. So it's really easy for you to just kind of like go up to anyone. I was still really shy. Um, so I was just not doing that. But anyways, freshman year, I went in blind because you have to go into a dorm. I went in blind, got paired up with this one kid who's from Texas, but he and I got along right away, and we got along really well. And I don't want to blame him, but he had a girlfriend back home, so he was just kind of all about his studies. You know, he's not trying to go like meet a lot of people. Obviously, we still did a little bit, like the people like in our dorm, in our hall and stuff, but like going out to different functions, things like that, we just didn't do too often. And we were also both kind of like cool with just hanging out with each other, so I was cool with that too. So obviously, I did meet people, but like he and I hung out all the time, so just kicked it. So then COVID hit. So that kind of led to us going home. So I was home all sophomore year. And it was during that time when I really started to realize like who I am and like who I want to be and how my identity kind of needed to shift from then. So yeah, all that time, I think all of us were just at home, a lot of time to think to ourselves, a lot of time to just be introspective. I'm a very introspective person, so that was just like magnified during that time. And I also realized I had to really take advantage of being at a big school like that had a lot of different like more diverse student body. So
Yeah.
as soon as I came back junior year, that was kind of like my goal, was to kind of get back out there and try to meet more like Asian people, more Korean people, fit in that way. So yeah, that's kind of what happened. But yeah, during that, like 2021, I say is like the year that really changed me in terms of my identity and stuff. So yeah, the last 2 years of college, a lot better. Made some new friends. Was able to be in like a Korean American organization, social organization, meet other people, and yeah, was able to make like a friend group and make the most of the last 2 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
very stark contrast between the first year and then the last couple.
So how do you take those, like, the way you made friends in college, and how did you take that into this post-grad area that you are now? Is it helpful? Is it so different that it's just irrelevant?
Yeah, I think it is helpful in a way. Like I have a couple friends that lived in Chicago or live in Chicago that I'd met either through school or through other things. Like I volunteer at this Korean camp, and I met someone who lives pretty close to me out here. So yeah, definitely being more secure in your identity and confident in who you are, which happened to me in the last like couple of years of college, really helps your social aspect, at least for me, makes you a little less anxious about putting yourself out there. So yeah, when I first moved here, I've been here for about 6 months in Chicago. And I think more recently I've been actually able to meet more people and actually have more of a social life here. Because when I first moved here, I was pretty like say I was like a hermit, because I really
Yeah.
was. It's also winter too, but
Oh yeah.
definitely could have done a better job. But yeah, I think I really realized like it's really important to have like a healthy like social circle, especially post grad, because you're not around easily accessible around the same people that are your age. So you really have to like go out of your way to meet people. Like you almost didn't really have to go out of your way in college. Like you just like everywhere you look is someone your age and someone that you might have a similar interest to. But now you're out on your own, so you have to put more effort into it.
You're into the wild. I do want to talk or ask a little bit how. So you said you were kind of shy growing up. How did you transition out of that, or like what really forced that? You think, besides COVID?
Yeah, I still think that I am pretty shy, like naturally, very just like listen first, talk second kind of guy. Which it's just I think, but that's just my nature. And I'm not like mad or like wish it was the other way. I'm not trying to change that part of me. But yeah, I think going back to just you realize like if you want to have like a social circle and you want to have like a rich, you know, like friend group, you have to put yourself out there, and to put yourself out there you can't just be to yourself. So I think just kind of putting all that together, like I can't, if I want something, I can't just not do anything and expect something to happen. So yeah, but I think definitely like what I was saying before about being more confident in like who you are and your identity, because that was a huge part of like why I wasn't, and I think for a huge part for adoptees too, is like you kind of have like a pit in your stomach in a way, like you kind of just like feel different, so you are afraid of like how you're being perceived or just anything like that. And once you kind of get over that and you kind of prove to yourself that you're still like a valid like individual, as crazy as that sounds to say, like, but it's kind of true, then you can kind of become, even if you are introverted, you can kind of more easily put yourself out there to meet more people and socially be where you want to be. But it's not easy. Definitely not easy.
Yeah, definitely not easy. And it's funny you say like you're a listen first, talk second person. I think I'm the opposite. I struggle listening. I'm like, oh, I want to talk right now. But that's so funny.
Makes a good balance.
Yeah, opposites. That's okay. Talk about your job search, because you're a year above me, so you've had the experience. You've lived through the war. How was it?
Yeah. So you know how I said 2021 was kind of like a very formative year? I feel like 2023 was also a very formative year for me, because I had been, of course, trying to get a job as soon as like senior year started. Even by before then, I kind of been like scouting out jobs, and I know it was going to be, you know, I had to put in a lot of effort and work to get a job as soon as you graduate. So that was kind of the goal. So I had been on top of that, at least I thought, during school year. And then the months pass, the days pass, still nothing really set up. And I didn't do the best job like in the years prior, before senior year. And I kind of procrastinated like how hard I really had to work. I kind of just assumed like it was all going to work out, which it still does, but like it could have worked out a little faster if I put in a little bit more effort and thought into the whole job search process. So yeah, I graduated and was without a job offer. So from when I graduated, like May to literally like December, I was like without a full-time position, which over time literally like destroyed me, because from at least May to end of July, I was still living on campus and living out my lease that I had senior year. So I still felt like I was like, okay, like I was working a part-time job. So I was like still doing that, spent that time doing that, going to the gym, hanging out with a couple friends that still were around. And then like, yeah, so I felt like I still had a lot of time. I was like, I'm just going to live out the last couple months in the summer, hang out with my friends, and then when I move home, that's when I'm really, that's when it's like really like I gotta go, because I didn't want to live at home, because going from having the fun in college to having to move back home, is I knew it was gonna be a lot different, which it was. So
Brutal.
yeah, literally moved back home, and my day was literally just wake up, go to the gym, and then like apply to jobs into the night, set up coffee chats, set up like different like connects with alumni, doing everything I could, yeah, it was just really hard, and I had so much time to be by myself because I had like no social circle really at that time, because I didn't want to do anything fun, because in my head, like, how dare I have fun because I don't have a job? Like, I need to have a job. So that's probably an unhealthy way to think about it. And a lot of my friends and people that did have full-time jobs were telling me, like, just enjoy that time, because as soon as you start work, you're never going to have that time back, which is true. And, those days were good. It was hard for you to believe right now, but
yes,
you kind of really have to appreciate those times in a way. But yes, having the balance of enjoying that time, but also still working hard. So I started doing I started journaling, like I started learning Korean. Like I was like trying to fill my day with like other productive things, which I think kind of helped with like structuring my day at least a little bit. But yeah, I was just really, really down bad. Like I was just not indulging in anything fun because I was trying to punish myself. So fast forward to December, got the job, and then I moved out here for that in January. So been here ever since. But yeah, that was a very, very stressful, crazy time, that few months when I was unemployed after graduation.
Yeah. I totally feel that. I feel like there's always a little bit of guilt whenever I go out and do something fun with my friends, or I buy a coffee or whatever. So I feel that. But yeah, you've been telling me it'll get better, and I'm sure it will. I do want to ask, how was like the moving process? Was it hard? I know, like, you came from Michigan, so I'm sure you drove, but was it hard? Did you move in by yourself? Did you move in with your parents?
Yeah, so it was a very quick turnaround from when I got the job offer to when I had to like start, basically. So I really only had like 2 weeks to find an apartment. So I was scouring the internet, found a place, good price, in an area that I thought was pretty good. So yeah, I packed up everything with the help of my friend, and then my parents also came because they wanted to come. So we packed up, like, I didn't even need a moving van. I just had like my friend's pickup truck, and then filled up the rest of my stuff in my like parents' car. And so yeah, just moved in one day in January, like right after New Year. And yeah, it was pretty quick, but yeah, it's pretty stressful because when you're moving, you want, at least for me, I want everything to be like set up the way like I want it, and people like moving stuff in different places and having all these people, like, it's just a very stressful like event, moving everything. And you're also like, your parents don't want to see you like leave the house, and your friend doesn't want to see you move to 4 hours away into a new state and new city. So just all these emotions, and it's very stressful. Like, I couldn't get my Wi-Fi to work right away, so I was like stressed out about that. But no, it was honestly a very smooth process. And I'm gonna be living in the same place next year too. So I ended up picking a good place.
Nice.
Made things a lot easier. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, one kind of last question about where you are now. What is your relationship with both of your identities, or could be one?
Yeah. I think especially in the last couple years of college, definitely don't even consider myself or identify as like an adoptee. I almost just kind of call myself or identify as like a Korean American. Which there's no right or wrong way, so I got really close to like a Korean American friend group at school. And so I felt like I really felt my best and felt like most myself when I was with them. And it really felt like Korean, like a Korean American. So I think that's kind of how I feel. The adoption and like adoptee identity part is like complicated because obviously it's not something that I can just like put away or like ignore because it's the truth. But I feel like for me, like I don't even think my coworkers like know like I am. Like I don't know. It's just not like something common, and I guess maybe still like insecure in a way. Like I just don't enjoy having the conversation about like, oh, actually like disclosing like, oh yeah, like actually I'm adopted. Like I don't know. Like even with new people that I meet, it's like a mixed bag just because I have like experiences with people just like not even like romantic relationships or anything, but just people kind of finding out, like Asian people, Korean people especially, some people just like disqualify you as even like could be of being a friend when they find out. It's like, oh, you don't speak Korean, like oh, you don't know the language or know the culture, like what's wrong with you? So like they don't want to be friends with you. Obviously it's like, okay, you don't want to be friends with those people anyways, but it's like, damn, like I can't even help it. So
Yeah.
I kind of like just push myself away from like having that conversation. Obviously if someone's like, well, what's your last, like if I'm meeting a Korean person, like you're Korean, but like what's your last, why is your last name that? Then obviously I'll tell them, but it's always kind of like like how do I want to say it? Like I don't know. It's like another part of me is like, do they are like if it's a like friend group or prospective friend or something, like oh, is he only hanging out with us because he's like trying to just only hang out with Korean people now? Like I don't know, these are just things that go through my head. Obviously I don't know, it's not great to like think that, but yeah, I just kind of identify as like Korean American. If it comes up, I'm gonna move forward with it, but yeah, just it's not an easy conversation.
Yeah, it can be hard. And that's interesting because I haven't been put in that situation yet. Like, I really have never had a friend group of like just Asian people or Chinese people or whatever. So it's very interesting. And it'll be, yeah, interesting if I run into that wherever I move to whenever I get my job.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into the Josh specific questions that I wrote for you. So how would you...
Let's do it.
Yeah, right? Okay, so how would you describe yourself? And also, is there an archetype that you feel like you fall into the most? And I can clarify if you need.
It's gonna answer the archetype. Well, maybe I'll just answer to describe myself, and then maybe I can form the archetype. But okay, so I feel like I kind of look like a player in a way, like visually speaking. Like I have like this curly hair, I have like a fade, right? Like like people think that, you know, that's just like a more player looking haircut. I'm like an athletic gym kind of guy, so I also kind of have that kind of build and whatever. So, but that's on the outside, that's not really who I am. But I'm more softer, more like patient, romantic on the inside. At least that's how I like to think.
Okay.
So it's like an interesting dynamic of, you know, what you expect and then what I actually am like. Like I said, I'm like more introverted. Definitely pretty observant, very observant, I think. And yeah, generally like an active, like healthy guy. Prioritize like my health in all sorts of ways, mental and physical. Higher, I feel like I have a decently high EQ for a guy. I don't know if that's a crazy thing to say, but I feel like I'm very like aware of like my emotions, and I feel like I can communicate pretty well. and communicate different qualms I have in a relationship or a friend relationship. But yeah, I got 2 ears and one mouth for a reason, so I'm more of like a listen first person. So
Okay.
yeah,
Good to know. Good to know.
But yeah.
Wait, real quick question. For your
Okay.
your outside look, whatever, gym bro, do you have a good smolder?
Smolder?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you do it?
What do you? No, I don't.
No?
I feel like I do, but I don't want to
You don't want to
do it on
fool too
here.
many people.
I don't want to force
okay.
it. I don't want to force
Okay.
it. But people do say that I have like a very like mean look.
Mean look.
Like I have like a very like resting like an RBF, but I feel like RBF only applies to girls.
I don't think so.
I just
Men
feel like
can be
guys, you're just supposed to look tough. I don't know.
You're
I don't
supposed
know.
to look tough.
I look
Okay.
very mean. I kind of look mean
You look kind of
from
mean.
what I've been told. Yeah.
Honestly, I could see that, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The contrast, soft on the inside, hard on the outside, whatever.
I'm not like a complete softie though. Like I just
okay.
am not a complete like
Yeah, because you take ashwagandha.
douchebag. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Perfect.
Yeah, the ashwagandha gives me the RBF. Yeah, that's what it is.
Right. Okay.
Oh no, last thing
Yeah.
to describe myself. I'm very like hard on myself, and like I was just saying, like I didn't want to do anything fun because I didn't have a job. Like that's just kind of how I think in a lot of ways. Like like you skip the gym today, like you have to go twice as hard tomorrow. Like just like things like that. I think it's healthy. I think like obviously you need to be like you just need to be disciplined, and like I just have like these expectations for myself, and if I want to get to where I want to be, I have to do certain things. But yeah, that's
Yeah. I think that's another way we're a little bit opposite. I am like motivated, except in the gym, I'm like, take another rest day. You deserve it.
Yes.
So I think we're opposite like that.
for sure. But I don't know. Well, I don't know what. Okay, maybe you can help, but I don't know what archetype that is.
What archetype that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because you're not really, like, I feel like you're not really a gym bro. Because they're all like, raw meat diet, and like, women are scary. I don't know. I take too many supplements, whatever.
Oh.
I feel like you're not like that.
No, I think I know what it is. Maybe you could call me like a. I hate to put myself in a box, but like you could like I could agree to like, oh, you're like one of those self-improvement like kind of guys.
Okay.
So it's like
I could
all
see you starting a
encompassing
course.
of like gym, like reading books, I think journal, like those kind
Right.
of things.
Wait.
Working on himself too much.
Do you have any other hobbies?
Yeah, I play like basketball. Started playing pickleball. I started running. Joined a running club. Ran a 10K last week. It's very
Cannot
active.
imagine.
I like thrifting. I enjoy thrifting. It's very like relaxing thing. Yeah, reading like self-help books, self-improvement books.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fun. I can't imagine running a 10K. Dude, I got up to go for a run like Saturday morning. I think I ran maybe a mile. And then I was like, oh, God, I have to walk.
It's okay.
But it's scary. What if someone like pulls up in a van and just like nabs me? See, I can't run outside.
So then, well, you're running at least. If you're like walking to a coffee shop, you see the same thing.
I don't walk to coffee shops.
Well, if you're gonna move to a big city,
See, yeah, we'll see. My goal is LA, not very walkable, so we'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
Okay, so second question, calling you out. You say you're obsessed with finding a wife. I just want to know, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Maybe everyone wants to know what you're looking for.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
No. Okay, listen. I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with finding my wife. I think
You are.
put that sentence, I am a romantic guy. I like being around like female energy. I don't know. But that doesn't mean
Okay.
me to find my wife. I think yeah.
Okay.
But what am I looking for? Honestly, just looking for someone that like I can navigate like this life, this crazy world we live in with. Someone who, like, character-wise, I guess like can be empathetic, loves themselves for sure. I can't be being the supplement to make them be happy. Like I need them to be happy to start. Yeah, someone I can be like do hobbies with, have deep conversations with, has a multi-dimensional personality. Like I don't ask for much. Like I feel like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and is beautiful, of course.
Yes, of course. So I'm excited. In our next episode, we'll talk more about dating and modern dating and how terrible it is.
Yes, definitely have
exciting.
some stories to share about that. Yes, both of us.
Yes. Okay, third question. What are your pet peeves? What ticks you off? What are you passionate about? What gets you fired up? Anything like that.
Pet peeves to start. It's really only like a couple that really stand out. Number one is people that are late and like they don't tell you, or like chronically late. Especially if like, I mean, I don't really do it now because I live in a big city, but like if I'm picking someone up, giving someone a ride, and I'm telling them, hey, I'm gonna be there at 7:00, and I pull up right at 7, and they're not ready out the door at 7, I'm pissed. Like I'm giving you a ride, and you're gonna disrespect my time. Like I'm helping, you know. So but that's like a super extreme example. But yeah, just people being late in general. It's just like a disrespecting my time kind of thing. It just happens a lot, which is unfortunate. Because what's the point of spending the time if you're just not going to honor it? So yeah, people being late, people with no spatial awareness. This is a huge one lately, and what I mean by that is, since I walk around a lot, just everywhere, people that are walking on the sidewalk, like on their phone, like at really slow pace in the middle of the sidewalk. Like if you're gonna walk and really slow on your phone and not actually be like aware of like who's around you, at least stand to the side, walk to the side, right? People are just like taking the whole space, and I have to like go like around like off the like, come on. And that happens too at the gym. Trying to walk to the locker room, it's like a one lane kind of guy. People doing the same thing, just walking real slow, staring at their phone. Or if like I'm waiting for a machine and someone's like clearly just scrolling on Instagram Reels and I'm the only one around and I'm clearly waiting for their machine and they're taking like 5 minutes in between sets, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be upset.
Wait, is 5 minutes too long?
5 minutes is insane. Like
Really?
2 minutes is fine.
What about
5
the
minutes?
rest period? What?
You only need like 2 minutes. Like
For like muscle recovery?
2.5 minutes.
What all the podcast dudes say you have like
I'm pretty sure it's like 2.5
3 to
minutes.
4. Okay. What if they're playing the Wordle and it's really hard and they have to take 5 minutes? Because I do that.
Just do it at home. You're not there. You're not at the gym to do Wordle.
I'm exercising my brain and my body. I think it's smart. But I can get the Wordle done.
That's my thing. But yeah, if you're maybe the actual time between sets is like 3 to 4 minutes, but if you're not like looking mad serious like between like bench sets or like deadlift sets, like if you're literally like wearing, you know, if you don't look like you actually care about the gym really, and you're just doing that, you're not actually caring about how much time you're taking. So that's
Ooh, question though. Are you a confrontational person? Will you go up to those people and be like, bro, get off the machine?
No, I would say, bro, get off, but I'll passive aggressively be like, yo, how many more sets you got left? And I'll like kind of like,
Do the RBF?
Yeah, I'll just be like, yo, because usually that'll make them like feel bad, maybe. But yeah, just asking in a not so nice way, which probably not good, but
Nah, that's okay.
still don't even get me to the point where I have to ask you. Anyways, okay, so
Just do better.
those two, just do better, exactly. Says two people who don't listen, or like FaceTime. You ever been on FaceTime? And I low-key don't enjoy FaceTime because you can tell the other person is either scrolling Instagram, not listening to you while you're on a call, or they're just actually, you can tell they're just like looking at themselves in the viewfinder and they're not actually listening to you. Just people that aren't actually listening to you is very, very annoying. Yeah, that's not very specific, but yeah.
Wait, what did you say again? Wait. Just kidding.
You're hilarious.
I'm so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just like those three.
Okay, those are good. Okay, what makes you passionate? What gets you fired up? Positively, I guess. Or whatever. Football? Anything?
Yeah. I think spending time with people that like you really love, like friendships, family, or like potentially like a romantic partner, someone who like you can just literally do anything with.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's who you're with. So doing any activities with like them, just spending time with them, very passionate about. Especially now that like I've moved away, I realize like those times are even more precious and valuable. So like even calling, like my one friend and I just call each other once a week, and I look forward to that time. We literally end up talking for like 2+ hours because we have so much to talk about, even though we just call once a week. So those little things kind of make like life worth living and like life very like human in a way. So yeah, very passionate about that, and also just like becoming a better person and setting myself up for a good future. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, but what about like the really like fiery passion? Like you're so excited about this football game or this, I don't know, something got released at some point. You're like, oh, I gotta get the new Yeezys. Anything like that?
I think I used to be that way. I used to be super hype for like a football game, a big game, or something like that. I don't think that's me anymore. It's kind of weird.
You're just mellow.
Yeah, no, it's just like this whole like, it's a crazy take, but like like crazy super fandom. I just stopped being like super fans.
Yes.
People that are like super fans of like different artists or their football team is like their personality is kind of like sad, I think.
Okay.
So I get more passionate and fired up about things that are like directly involve me. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of like different sports teams and things, but I wouldn't say it like gets me as fired up as like
Okay.
what I said before.
Yeah, it sounds like your like frontal lobe is developing, maybe.
Yeah, getting old. You said it yourself.
Yeah.
Like an uncle.
God.
I'm an uncle at this point.
Yeah, ancient, big age. Okay, well, kind of similar. Like, what is your outlook on life? What gives you purpose?
Ooh. Yeah, I think just simply like having a good family. You know, I've never met someone that is biologically related to me or has the same blood as me. So I think when I have like my own child, that may be the first time I meet someone who is the same, like literally like me.
Yeah.
Same, like, yeah. So I think that really gets me excited for that day to come. So that kind of motivates me and gives me purpose, like being able to be in a place and position where I am like financially secure and stable and like emotionally, physically, whatever, have a good relationship with like, my wife, just to have a good family down the road and someone that I can build a good life with. I think that's what gives me purpose.
Awesome. Yeah. It sounds like a good life. So
Yeah.
this last question is pretty deep. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay. Do you feel like you've grieved the part of yourself that you were before you decided to embrace your identity?
That is deep. Define grieved, because maybe I wouldn't say I grieved.
Okay. Just like, I don't know, do you even like feel sad for your younger self? Just like that I mean, I don't know your experience. I personally didn't have like cultural camps. I didn't learn the language. I didn't have anyone to like turn to for like the Chinese stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't have culture camps either. I just happen to work at one now that I'm a little bit more like interested. But excuse me. So yeah, I feel like I've acknowledged, and I don't feel sad because I believe like everything that's happened to me made me who I am today, and I wouldn't regret that. Obviously, it's a little less ideal. Like obviously I wish like I was forced to learn, like now I wish I was forced to learn Korean or something like that when I was younger, so that I'd be in a better position trying to be more in tune with my identity now. But that's just honestly unrealistic. So if you think about it, like you're just not thinking, like there's no practical use for, like you're a child. You can't have the foresight to like think ahead, like this is gonna be worth it down the road, like I'm gonna need this. Like you just cared about, at least for me, like I just cared about like playing Pokemon on my DS and like just like shooting hoops outside. Like that's what I'd much rather spend my time as a kid. So I think I'm not sad. I think in some ways, like it is sad to think about like some of the things I went through, like just like things that I did, ways that I acted that I am not proud of when I was younger, when it came to like my identity and whatnot. But I think just overall, I feel like I kind of had to go through a whole arc to kind of become who I am now and have like the appreciation of my identity since I went through what I did when I was younger. But yeah, definitely a completely different person. Even in high school, I feel like that was like a completely different person with a completely different like head on their shoulders. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. That was all of my questions for you. Anything else you want to say or address or?
No, I know. I think other than just I appreciate, the opportunity to kind of share my experience, my story, and I'm excited to talk about various other topics in the future. But yeah, this was great.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so glad getting to know you more. I'm sure the audience is also glad. So I think that wraps up our Josh episode. Yeah.
Yep. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Social links in the description for everything. But yeah, looking forward to stay tuned, for the next episode.
So awesome. Right. Bye.
See you guys.